The Oklahoma City Thunder has been one of the best young teams in the NBA so far this season. Going into the All-Star break, they have a record of 28-29, and that is good enough for 10th place in a very loaded Western Conference. I feel like 10th place in the West, the way that conference is constructed and how competitive it is right now, being in 10th place is an achievement. And if the Oklahoma City Thunder, if they were to win 3 or 4 straight games, that could take them all the way from 10th to like 6th or 5th place. So things are very tight over there right now. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have something special brewing with this unit. On any given night, they're going to be competitive with just about any team in all of the NBA. We've seen them do some dominant things, have some dominant performances. The one that comes to the top of my head, I think their most impressive win came against the Boston Celtics when they run 150 points on their head. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think this is a very talented ball club. And when you look at this team, and examine them closely, you notice there's two truths about this team that doesn't really get talked about. Number one is Chet Holmgren, and I feel like if you're not an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, it's easy to forget about him because he's injured. And every now and then, whenever I'm watching the Thunder play, they put the camera on him while he's sitting on the bench with his teammates, and I'll be like, oh damn, I forgot they had the number 2 pick in the draft, Chet Holmgren. And I think once he gets healthy and gets acclimated to the NBA, the speed, the scheduling, I think he's going to be a great addition to this team. And also, one crazy thing about the Oklahoma City Thunder is the draft capital that they have over the next several years. It is insane. And to put into perspective how crazy their draft capital is, over the next 6 years, I believe up until 2029, the Oklahoma City Thunder own 38 draft picks. 19 of them are first round draft picks and the other 19 are second round draft picks. So I think these two things right here, Chet Holmgren, the number 2 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and all the draft capital to come over the next several years, I think this makes the Oklahoma City Thunder a very scary organization. Now, the first thing I want to dive into first is Chet Holmgren. And when we look at the Oklahoma City Thunder and we look at their roster, I feel like they already have two unique talents on this team. Gilgeous-Alexander, who is averaging 31 plus points per game this season, one of the best shot creators in the league, some of the best footwork when it comes to getting to the rim, and he's just very hard to figure out because he knows how to put that ball in the hoop. And also, he made the All-Star game this year and he pulled up looking like a pimp. He had a fur coat on and I was just like, damn, Shay, that's how you feeling tonight. And also, they have Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is a guard with size. He can rebound the basketball. He can make plays. And I think his size is what makes him very unique. We don't see players that big be so good at creating plays, getting out in transition. And also, if you've been watching the Thunder this year, Josh Giddey, he's becoming so much better and confident as a scorer in half-court offense. I think he's improving tremendously in that area. So I feel like right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have two unique talents, and with Chet Holmgren rehabbing and recovering from his injury, once he's ready to suit up, they're going to have a third unique talent in their rotation. Now, when it comes to the number 2 pick, Chet Holmgren, there's so many things that makes this guy unique. One of my personal favorite things about him is what he brings, the impact he brings on the defensive side of the ball. He stands at 7 feet tall and he has a massive 7'6" wingspan. So you guessed it, he excelled at protecting the rim and blocking shots. In his final year at Gonzaga, he averaged 3.7 blocks per game, and also he tied Brandon Clark for the most blocks in Gonzaga history with 117, and in 5 out of his 32 appearances he had at least 6 blocks. So this guy excelled at protecting the rim and blocking shots, and also for his size, he's pretty mobile, and we know how important that is in today's NBA, in today's game of basketball. The big has to be able to get out and switch because there's a lot of pick and roll and there's a lot of mismatch hunting in today's NBA. And Chet Holmgren, now he might not be the best perimeter defender, and most of the time he does a great job of staying in front of the guys, but whenever he does get beat by a smaller player, he uses that 7'6", that 7'6" wingspan to recover, and he usually blocks the shot. So he's pretty versatile on the defensive side of the ball, and I think the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to love that about him. Now we can get to the fun stuff and talk about what he brings to the table on the offensive side of the ball, and I think he's going to fit right in with the offensive system of the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you watch the Thunder, you know they like to run a lot of 5 out, and in 5 out there's really nobody lingering on the inside, nobody sitting in the dunker position. Everybody is out on the 3-point line, and Chet Holmgren, another thing he excelled at when he played college ball is 3-point shooting. He shot 39% in his final year at Gonzaga, and he's not just a spot up shooter. He can set a pick and pop and knock down the 3-point shot, and he can also pull up in transition and knock down the 3-point shot. So he is a great shooter, and playing with Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all the attention that they're going to be commanding, he's going to be getting some wide open looks, especially with opposing bigs guarding him, because we all know when it comes to bigs in the NBA, their natural thing to do is protect the rim, so they often drift away from those bigs that sit out on the 3-point line. So I think he's going to get a lot of open 3-point shots playing alongside those two guys and also playing at the center position. I love that for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Chet, he's not just a 3-point shooter, but he was also one of the best finishers around the rim in college basketball. He led the nation in shooting percentage inside the paint. I believe it was an insane number, like 73%, but he has great footwork. He has a soft touch around the rim, and surprisingly, with his slight frame, he weighs 195 pounds. He had no problem with finishing through contact. So Chet Holmgren, he's a very special talent, and the upside of him is crazy because we know he can shoot the 3-point shot. We know with his size and length he can finish around the rim, but there's some more things he can do to take his game to the next level. During his high school, you look at his high school highlights, his college highlights, he can handle the basketball. So if he keep working on that, and he gets a great handle at that size, and he's able to consistently create his own shots, now we're talking about a completely different monster. And I think Chet Holmgren, with the work ethic that he definitely has the potential to reach that level, to become that type of basketball player. And I think he's one of the reasons going forward that he's going to make the Oklahoma City Thunder a scary ball club. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, they still have all of this draft capital, 38 picks over the next 6 years. 19 of them are first round picks, the other 19 are second round picks. Now, what I love about this is that it gives the Oklahoma City Thunder a little bit of flexibility, because now they don't just have to wait on the draft. With that type of draft capital, you can just trade for just about any player. We've seen all these deals of these superstars being traded. We haven't seen other superstars coming along in the deal. We're seeing 2 or 3 role players and then an abundance of draft picks. And we look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think they can pull off a deal like that because they have young talent. I believe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is only 24 years of age. Josh Giddey is like 21 years old. This is a very young team, and with this season, we're seeing that these guys are becoming competitive. They can compete. So now I feel like if you're the front office, you don't have to be hesitant about giving up some of that draft capital. You can bring in another star or another high-level NBA player to make this roster go from, being in the play-in tournament to being in the playoffs and contending for a championship. So there's so many different routes that the Oklahoma City Thunder can take. I don't know how much longer they can be patient with a player like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because he is becoming one of those guys that he's going to start to expecting his productivity to turn into wins and turn into competing in the playoffs. So I'm very excited to see what the Oklahoma City do, how they finish this season and what they do over the next 2 or 3 years. I think this organization has the potential to put together something very special, and they're already putting together something special right now. But that's going to be it for today's video. Was just thinking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, so I was like, let me make this video on these guys. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.